What if I told you there's a piece of software installed in your brain designed to keep you poor? Do you ever feel like you're playing a game you can't win? You get a raise, but your lifestyle inflates to consume it. You save diligently, but financial freedom feels just as far away as it did 5 years ago. You are running faster and faster on a hamster wheel that's bolted to the floor. I lived that exact life for over a decade in corporate America. Six-figure salary, doing everything right, but I was still a prisoner. It wasn't until I stopped looking at spreadsheets and started investigating psychology that I found the real prison bars, hidden programming. And uninstalling it is what allowed me to break free and retire at 40. This is not another video about budgeting or index funds. This is a deprogramming session. Together, we're going to expose the three psychological bugs, the system installed in your mind to ensure you never escape. Once you see how this code runs your decisions, you can never unsee it. This is the first step to rewriting your financial destiny. Every Sunday night, a wave of anxiety would wash over me, knowing that for the next 5 days, my time, my energy, my life belonged to someone else. I was trapped by golden handcuffs. The salary was high enough to make living feel insane, but it wasn't high enough to buy my freedom. It was just enough to buy a bigger cage. I remember getting a $20,000 bonus one year. I thought, this is it, this is the breakthrough. But within 6 months, it was gone. Not on anything foolish, but on things that felt necessary. A slightly better car because the old one was becoming unreliable for my commute. A vacation because I was so burned out I couldn't think straight. Small lifestyle upgrades that barely registered, but collectively they consumed every last dollar. I was making more money than I ever had in my life, yet my net worth was barely moving. I was just a more comfortable hamster on a more expensive wheel. And here's the terrifying part, I wasn't alone. This isn't just a personal feeling, it's a statistical reality. A study by Lending Club revealed that nearly 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. But the truly shocking number is that almost a third of people earning over $250,000 a year are in the same boat. Think about that, a quarter of $1 million and still one bad month away from financial trouble. This isn't a salary problem, this is a system problem. It's a programming problem. You've been conditioned to believe that the solution is to earn more, to climb higher up the corporate ladder. But the system is designed so that every time you climb a rung, the finish line moves 10 rungs higher. The real consequence of inaction isn't just staying in a job you dislike, the consequence is waking up at 55 or 60 with your health declining and your energy gone, realizing you traded the best years of your life for a paycheck that never bought you freedom. The consequence is a life filled with quiet regret for the dreams you deferred, the businesses you never started, the places you never saw. The ultimate cost is your time, the only asset you can never get back. You look at your 401k, which you dutifully fed for 30 years, and realize it's just enough to survive, not to truly live. You've played their game perfectly, and your prize is a retirement spent worrying about medical bills. That was the future I saw for myself, and I refused to accept it. It wasn't until I stopped looking at financial spreadsheets and started investigating financial psychology that I found the real prison bars. It was this hidden programming that was keeping me trapped, and uninstalling it is what allowed me to actually break free and retire at 40. So, how do you fight this? How do you uninstall a piece of software you can't even see? You don't fight it with more willpower. You don't fight it with a stricter budget or a new savings app. Trying to do that is like trying to fix a corrupted operating system by just typing faster. It doesn't work. You have to get to the source code. This is what led me to develop a framework for myself, a deprogramming sequence that I now call the Financial Escape Protocol. It's not a set of rules, it's a set of diagnostic tools designed to find and rewrite the malicious code that's running your financial life. It's the process of shifting from being a character in someone else's game to becoming the programmer of your own. The entire protocol is built on one simple, powerful idea. You cannot win a rigged game by playing harder. You win by first understanding exactly how it's rigged and then choosing to play a different game altogether. This protocol is your guide to understanding the rigging. It focuses on identifying and overwriting the three most fundamental bugs the system installs in your mind. Once you see these three bugs operating in your daily life, you can never unsee them. It's like seeing the code in the matrix. The world around you doesn't change, but your understanding of it is transformed forever. And in that moment, you stop being a victim of the system and you start becoming its master. This isn't just a motivational theory. This is the exact step by step mental process that took me from feeling trapped by a $450,000 salary to being completely free, living between two continents on my own terms. In the rest of this investigation, we're going to go deep on each of these three bugs. I'm not just going to describe them, I'm going to show you the evidence of how they were installed in you, the psychological triggers they exploit, and give you the practical mental tools to override them, starting today. This is where your deprogramming truly begins. Alright, let's begin the deprogramming. We start with the first most pervasive bug in the system, the consumption illusion. This is the piece of code that whispers in your ear that the entire purpose of earning more money is to spend more money. It's the software that equates your personal value with your purchasing power. It's why getting a raise doesn't feel like a step toward freedom, but like a license to get a bigger car payment, a more expensive mortgage, a fancier vacation. The system has brilliantly programmed you to believe that the reward for your hard work is a more luxurious cage. How was this code installed? It's been a multi decade, multi billion dollar project. Every advertisement you see isn't just selling a product, it's reinforcing the illusion. It's selling you the idea that happiness, status, and fulfillment are just one purchase away. Social media then amplifies this by a factor of 1,000. It's a curated highlight reel of consumption where everyone is showcasing the results of their income, the trips, the clothes, the restaurant meals, but no one is showing the assets they own. The system has created a global stage where we are all encouraged to signal our success by how quickly we can get rid of our money. This exploits one of the deepest human drives, the need for social status. For millennia, status was linked to survival. Today, it's linked to a logo on a handbag or the model year of your car. Every time you make a purchase that signals success, your brain gets a small hit of dopamine. It feels good. The system has hacked your ancient survival wiring and turned you into a dopamine junkie whose drug of choice is consumption. Let's take my own $20,000 bonus as a case study. The consumption illusion code immediately ran its script. It told me, "You worked hard. You deserve a reward. That old car is starting to feel a bit beneath you now." And so a huge chunk of that bonus went toward the down payment on a newer, nicer car. It felt like an upgrade. But what was it really? It was a liability. It came with a higher monthly payment, higher insurance, and higher maintenance costs. I didn't buy an upgrade. I bought a new monthly bill that would chain me to my job for the next 5 years. I traded a lump sum of capital for a long term financial drain. That is the consumption illusion in action. So, how do you override this code? You install a new primary directive. It's called the asset first principle. It's a simple but profound shift in thinking. From now on, before your income is ever used for lifestyle upgrades, it must first be deployed to buy or build an asset. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of it. The new car was a liability. Had I been running the asset first code, I would have taken that $20,000 and asked a different question. How can this money make me more money? I could have bought $20,000 of a high yield dividend ETF at a 5% yield that would have generated $1,000 a year or about $83 a month in passive income forever. It doesn't sound like much, does it? But that $83 isn't just money, it's a tiny piece of freedom. It's a machine that works for me 24/7 while I sleep. The next year, that machine is still there. The car, however, is just 1 year older and worth thousands less. One path leads to a growing stream of passive income. The other leads to a depreciating piece of metal. This is the fundamental choice that determines your financial destiny. You either use your income to buy liabilities that impress other people, or you use it to buy assets that will one day set you free. That is how you uninstall the consumption illusion. Now for the second bug, which is even more subtle and emotionally powerful, the safety trap. This is the program that has convinced you that a W 2 paycheck from a single employer is the pinnacle of financial security. It makes you fear the perceived risk of starting a business or investing aggressively, while blinding you to the catastrophic hidden risk of depending on one company for 100% of your income. This code is installed from childhood. What did our parents, teachers, and society tell us? Go to school, get good grades, and find a good stable job with benefits. The entire system is designed to create compliant, predictable employees, not sovereign individuals. The media reinforces this by glorifying the rare startup unicorn while constantly running stories about layoffs, economic downturns, and the dangers of the market. They want you to believe that the corporate world is a safe harbor and everything outside of it is a stormy, treacherous sea. This programming exploits your brain's deep seated loss aversion. Psychologically, the pain of losing $100 is twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining $100. The system uses this against you. The thought of losing your stable paycheck is so terrifying that you won't even consider actions that have a small chance of failure, but an enormous potential for upside. You become addicted to the predictable bi weekly dopamine hit of your direct deposit. It feels safe, but it's the most dangerous illusion of all. True security is not found in a single paycheck. That is the definition of fragility. A reorganization, a new boss who doesn't like you, an industry disruption, any of these can wipe out your secure income in an instant. I saw it happen over and over again to colleagues who had given decades of their lives to a company. They were loyal, they were safe, and then one Tuesday morning, their access card stopped working. The override for the safety trap is to fundamentally redefine the word security. You must install the portfolio of incomes framework. True security is not one big income stream, it's a dozen small ones. It's having income from a job, plus income from dividends, plus income from a rental property, plus income from a small online course, plus income from a consulting gig. When you have a portfolio of incomes, the loss of any single one is not a catastrophe, it's a data point, it's an inconvenience. The first step isn't to quit your job and risk it all. That would be playing into the system's fear narrative. The first step is purely psychological. You must build your first dollar of income that is completely independent of your employer. It doesn't matter if it's $5 from selling an old book on eBay or $50 from a freelance writing gig. The amount is irrelevant. The act of creating that first independent dollar starts to rewire your brain. It proves to your subconscious that you can generate value and money outside the confines of your job description. It's the first crack in the prison wall of the safety trap. For me, it was earning my first $10 from Google AdSense on a tiny blog I built on weekends. That $10 was more empowering than any $5,000 raise I ever got because it was mine. It was the beginning of my escape. Finally, we arrive at the most insidious and heartbreaking bug of all, the time deferment fallacy. This is the grand bargain the system sells you. It says, give me the best 40 years of your life. Give me your youth, your energy, your health, your creativity. In exchange, when you are 65, broken down and tired, I will give you permission to be free. It's the one day virus. One day I'll travel the world. One day I'll start that business. One day I'll spend more time with my family. The entire structure of corporate life and traditional retirement planning is built on this fallacy. The 401k is its ultimate symbol, a financial vehicle designed to lock your money away for decades, forcing you to defer your life until the government deems you old enough to access it. This exploits a powerful cognitive bias, hyperbolic discounting. It's a fancy term for a simple human tendency. We overwhelmingly prefer smaller, immediate rewards over larger, delayed rewards. The system knows this. It knows that the vague, distant promise of retirement is not a powerful enough motivator for daily sacrifice. So it creates a series of smaller, intermediate deferments. Work hard for the next 6 months to get a good performance review. Put in long hours this year to get that promotion. It's a chain of delayed gratification that stretches out for 40 years until you wake up and realize the life you were saving for has already passed you by. The only way to override this code is to destroy the concept of retirement altogether. You need to replace it with the framework of lifestyle design. The goal is not to stop working in 40 years. The goal is to build a life you don't want to retire from, starting now. It's about strategically injecting freedom and the things you love into your life today, not deferring them to a future that is never guaranteed. The most powerful tool to do this is the mini retirement. Instead of one massive retirement at 65, you plan for a series of 1 to 3 month sabbaticals every few years. This completely shatters the time deferment fallacy. It forces you to think about freedom in concrete, achievable terms. Here is your first step to debugging this fallacy. Forget about your retirement number for age 65. Instead, calculate your 3-month freedom number. How much money would you need to take 3 months off from work, travel to a place like Thailand or Portugal, and live comfortably? Maybe it's $5,000, maybe it's 10,000. Suddenly, the goal isn't some abstract multi-million dollar figure decades away. It's a tangible, exciting project you can achieve in the next 18 to 24 months. Achieving that first mini retirement does something profound. It proves that freedom isn't an age, it's a number. It demonstrates that the life you've been dreaming of for one day is available to you right now in small, concentrated doses. Once you've tasted that, you will never again be willing to trade 40 years of your life for a promise. You stop playing their game of deferment and you start playing your own game of design. And that is the final key to unlocking the cage. Okay, so you've just seen the code. You've recognized the consumption illusion, the safety trap, and the time deferment fallacy running in your own life. And if you're like I was when I first realized this, you're probably feeling a mix of two things: anger at the system and a sense of being completely overwhelmed. It feels like trying to fix a skyscraper's foundation with a screwdriver. Where do you even begin? This is the most critical moment because right now, the old programming will try to reassert control. It will tell you this is too big, too complicated, and that it's safer to just go back to the way things were. We are not going to let that happen. The process of deprogramming doesn't start with a drastic life altering action. It starts with one simple, quiet act of observation. Your first step is not to sell your car or quit your job. Your first step is to conduct what I call a freedom audit. For the next 7 days, I want you to track every single dollar you spend, but you're not just tracking the numbers. Next to each expense, you're going to label it with one of two words: freedom or cage. Did this expense buy you an asset that generates income or frees up your time? That's a freedom expense. Or did it buy you a liability, a status symbol, or a temporary distraction that reinforces your need for a paycheck? That's a cage expense. That morning latte, the new subscription service, the slightly more expensive brand at the grocery store. Be brutally honest. This isn't about shaming yourself, it's about making the invisible code visible. After 7 days, you will have a document that is a perfect diagnostic of how the system's programming is controlling your money. This is the starting point. Now, as you start this journey, you are going to be tempted to make three very common mistakes. I made all of them. The first is what I call the financial crash diet. You see the cage expenses piling up and you panic. You slash everything to the bone, stop all spending, and try to live like a monk. This will fail. For the same reason, crash diets fail. It's unsustainable and based on willpower alone. It burns you out, and within a few weeks, you'll swing back to old habits even harder. The goal isn't deprivation, it's intentionality. It's about redirecting your resources, not eliminating your life. The second mistake is analysis paralysis. You'll start researching the perfect investment, the perfect side hustle, the perfect fire strategy. You'll spend hundreds of hours consuming information, but you'll never actually do anything because you're terrified of making a mistake. This is the safety trap programming fighting back. It convinces you that inaction is safer than imperfect action. It's a lie. The only way to learn is by doing. The only way to build wealth is to start, even if you start small and imperfectly. And the third mistake, the most dangerous one, is seeking validation from people who are still plugged into the system. You'll share your new awareness with family or friends, and they will look at you like you're crazy. They'll tell you to be realistic, to be safe. They're not bad people, they are just running the default software. You cannot expect a program to validate its own uninstallation. For this first phase, your journey has to be your own. Find your validation in your own progress, not in the approval of others. Ultimately, all of this comes down to one core mindset shift. You must consciously change your identity from a consumer to a producer. The system has programmed you to be a consumer. Your role is to work, earn money, and then consume products and services. That's it. A producer, on the other hand, asks a different set of questions. They don't just ask, what can I buy with my money? They ask, what can I build with my time? What value can I create? What problems can I solve? Think of your life as a factory. As a consumer, you are just a worker on the assembly line, earning a wage to buy the products the factory makes. As a producer, you start building your own small machine in the corner. At first, it's tiny. Maybe it produces just $1 of value a month, but it's your machine, and you spend every spare resource, every extra dollar, not on consuming more, but on making your little machine bigger and more efficient. Over time, that machine grows until one day the income it produces is greater than the wage you earn from the main assembly line. That is the moment you are free. You have shifted from being an employee of the system to being the owner of your own. This is the single most important mental model you can adopt. It's the master key that unlocks all the cages. Once you make this shift, everything changes. You stop seeing your paycheck as the finish line and start seeing it as the starting line. You stop trading your life for a wage and start building a life where your assets work for you. You stop deferring your dreams and start designing your freedom. And most importantly, you stop being a victim of the system and start being the architect of your own destiny. This is not a quick fix, this is not a hack. This is a fundamental rewiring of how you see money, time, and life itself. But it is possible. I am living proof. I went from trapped in a corporate cage, making $450,000, but feeling broke, to completely free at 40, living on my own terms between continents. And if I can do it, starting from zero understanding of this programming, so can you. So, here's what I want you to do in the next 24 hours. Not next week, not when you feel ready. Right now, first conduct your 7-day freedom audit. Track every dollar, label it freedom or cage. Make the code visible. Second, calculate your 3-month freedom number. Pick a destination, price it out, make freedom tangible. Third, earn your first independent dollar. Sell something, freelance something, create something. Prove to yourself you can generate value outside your job. These 3 actions will start the deprogramming process. They will begin to rewrite the code. And here's what you need to understand: the system doesn't want you to take these steps, it wants you to stay comfortable, distracted, and compliant. It wants you to defer your dreams, trade your time, and consume your income. Every time you choose differently, you are debugging the code. Every time you buy an asset instead of a liability, you are rewriting the program. Every time you build instead of consume, you are breaking free. This journey isn't easy, but it is simple and it is possible. The 3 bugs, the consumption illusion, the safety trap, and the time deferment fallacy, they are running in your life right now. But now you can see them. Now you know how they work. And now you have the tools to override them. The choice is yours. You can go back to the comfortable cage, or you can start building your escape. You can keep playing their game, or you can start playing your own. I'll leave you with this final thought. When I was sitting in my corner office making more money than I ever thought I would, but feeling more trapped than ever, I asked myself one question and it changed everything. The question was this: if I keep doing what I'm doing right now, where will I be in 10 years? And the answer terrified me. I would be 10 years older, 10 years more burned out, 10 years further from the life I actually wanted to live. That question woke me up and it started my journey to freedom. So I want you to ask yourself the same question right now. If you keep doing what you're doing, where will you be in 10 years? Be honest, really honest. And if the answer doesn't excite you, if it scares you, then you know what you have to do. You have to start the deprogramming. You have to start today. Thank you for watching this investigation. If this resonated with you, if you saw yourself in any part of this story, then I want you to do 3 things. First, subscribe to this channel. I am documenting my entire journey of financial freedom and location independence, and I want you to be part of it. Second, conduct your freedom audit this week. Track your spending, make the code visible. And third, leave a comment below and tell me which of the 3 bugs, the consumption illusion, the safety trap, or the time deferment fallacy, hit you the hardest. Which one do you see running in your life right now? I read every comment and I want to hear your story. This is just the beginning. The deprogramming has started. Your freedom is waiting. Now go build it.